Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of CO2 injection in the planted fish tank. As we discuss CO2 injection, we'll talk about the pros, the cons, and why many people are either for it or against it. And at the end of this video, we'll talk about my personal feeling on CO2 injection. And before we dive into this subject, if you're new to this channel, why don't you consider subscribing so you don't miss anything. Now for the pros of CO2 injection and why many aquarists decide to use it in their planted tanks. The first pro of CO2 injection is it actually helps control algae in the aquarium. That's right, the addition of CO2 in the aquarium with the right balance of nutrients and light can actually help plants outcompete algae, which means a lot less algae in the aquarium. This is especially true in tanks with excess light and nutrients and where CO2 is the limiting factor for growth. The second pro is your plants will actually have faster and more vibrant growth. I like to break down photosynthesis in aquarium plants into three elements: lighting, nutrients, and CO2. As long as you have nutrients and lighting available, CO2 will add that extra kick to really increase your plant growth. Another pro to CO2 injection is it allows you to keep more demanding plants. Everyone loves that cool red plant or to have a carpeting plant, but many of those plants require CO2 injection. Another pro for CO2 injection is it makes carpeting plants easier. Not that you always need CO2 to grow a carpet, like Monte Carlo in my bonsai tank, we don't have CO2 there, but it's coming in slowly. Now there are some cons and some risks that come with CO2 injection in the planted aquarium. The first con of CO2 injection has to be the fact that it's so expensive. Some CO2 injection systems can cost upwards of $400 to $500. Now mine didn't cost that much, but I still spent about $200 on mine. Another con for CO2 injection is it can actually add to your maintenance on your aquarium. The plants grow faster, which means you have to trim them more often. You also have to be more diligent about your dosing of fertilizers. If you don't dose them often enough, you will end up with a nutrient deficiency. Another thing to consider is an overdose of CO2 can be dangerous for your fish. Too much CO2 can kill your fish in two ways. One by suffocating them, the other by lowering the pH. Another thing, beginners can have a hard time finding a balance of lighting, fertilizers, and CO2. Let me know what you think about CO2 injection in the planted aquarium with a comment down below. Personally, I am both for it and against it. I love this tank, the vibrant growth it gives me, the carpets it gives me, and the wide variety of plants I can keep in it, but it's very expensive. I really like the simple, low maintenance tank as well. So after you weigh the pros and the cons, it's up to you to decide whether CO2 injection is right for you and your tank. I'll see you next time.